I'm here to review the film The Girl Who Kicked a Hornet's Nest. And that is the third and what of course is known as the Millennium Trilogy, based on the book series by Stieg Larsson. And of course it follows the kooky fun adventures of Elizabeth Salander. She is a, she's a punk goth internet hacker superhero kind of, pretty much. And she has sort of had this ongoing partnership with the reporter Michael Bloomquist, played by Michael Nyquist, and Elizabeth Salander, of course, is played by Noomi Rapace. And when last we met our heroes, she had confronted her incredibly evil father, almost to a battle to the death, with also her half-brother, who has almost a superhuman ability not to feel pain. And of course, like any good supervillain, he has a intimidating, frightening name, Ronald Niederman. Anyway, I mean, yeah, that's not exactly an indestructible killer, crazy man name. That's, that's the accountant that, I need to call, every once in a while. It's like, hey, Needleman, can you help me out? Anyway, he's played by Michael Spritz, I think. And, this series, the way it's been structured, has kind of reminded me a little, obviously, of course, Back to the Future. Now, I'll explain. The first film of both series kind of stand on their own. They have a nice beginning, middle, and end. Yeah, they have some lingering issues that are kind of moving on, but if you just see one and done, you're done. And of course, number two of both features are pretty much almost chases, where we follow our character being run around and chased around and all kinds of crazy shit. And there's a lot of setup for part two of the story. So basically, it's kind of following in that kind of setup, where parts 2 and 3 are basically one story that is the sequel to the original film. Now, when, let's see, of course, our reporter, Bloomquist, who is our only action hero who has a Toyota Prius, I think. And anyway, he comes in just in time, just before Niederman kills Elizabeth Salander. He sees him driving up the road and goes, "Oh my God, it's a liberal reporter in a Toyota Prius! I gotta run!" And takes off just in time for police and backup to save Elizabeth, just as she and her father are both dying. Now, both of them are taken to the hospital, the same hospital. Can you believe that? Now, you think maybe with everything from the last film was settled. Well, no. I mean, her father works for some other really connected evil conspiracy guys, and they're not too fond of this whole thing being blown open, so they're quickly trying to keep everything, keep a lid on everything. There is a tremendous death in the beginning of the film. Her life is threatened as she's trying to recover from the wounds she received in the previous film. Now, this actually, in an interesting way, makes a kind of a good bookend. The first film started out with our other lead character, Michael, being found guilty in trial, and this film is kind of almost a courtroom thriller in a way, where Elizabeth is going to trial for murder. And let's see, she spends most of the film, especially the early parts, just simply recovering from her injuries, and she is completely out of character. Her makeup is all washed off, and she is in hospital gowns the whole time for the first 2/3 of the film, really. It isn't until she finally recovers that she goes in costume. And I read a review in People that actually kind of diminished that, and said, that was a really heart-rendering part to see her so broken down, and then puts on a costume like a superhero. And I think that reviewer meant to suggest that wasn't a great thing. I thought that was awesome. I love that. Yeah, admittedly, when you're going on trial for murder, a faux hawk and spikes and black costume and makeup maybe isn't the best choice. But you know what? This character has been beaten and raped and tortured and chased and hunted for her whole life. And this is her way of publicly saying, you haven't broken me. I am still this person. And you know what? Fuck you. Oh, I love it. Let's see. Let me get to some basic notes here. I'm trying to think here. There was a lot of other characters. We get to see a lot of the supporting characters from the Millennium magazine in this one a little bit more, since Elizabeth is spending a lot of time in hospital bed recovering. So we get to see some of the other characters, and their lives are being threatened. This is a very dangerous situation. It does kind of have you're waiting for the other shoe to drop through most of this film. Like, you know, is the conspiracy going to, you know, tear them apart? Is she going to be convicted of murder? And what happens to Niederman, who's kind of hanging around and nobody seems to have caught him? What's going to happen there? Now, let's see. I'm trying to see. There are tiny slow parts here and there, but to be honest, I think it keeps the attention fairly wound up all the way until the end with the showdown of a couple of characters that, you know, I'll hint at, but, you know, that's kind of it. The very end with Michael and Elizabeth is rather touching. I do wish maybe it had gone on a little bit more. It's an odd scene. It's fairly touching and awkward at the same time. These characters obviously care about each other. They've saved each other's lives like 8 times in like 2 years. So I don't know. You feel like there should be something said between the two of them, but neither one of them could really think of anything to say. Which it's an interesting way to end the series, I have to say. I definitely enjoyed it. I think the first one is still the best. This one was very enjoyable, though. I give it easy, nice 4 Ram chips. Enjoyed it a lot. Now, David Fincher, it's your turn. Push the button, Lindsay.